they need. This budget pretends to make infrastructure a priority by highlighting the president's $200 billion infrastructure proposal with one hand, while taking away infrastructure funding with the other hand. The budget assumes a $122 billion cut in highway programs after the expiration of the current highway bill. It also cuts discretionary transportation accounts, including reductions in Amtrak and the elimination of Tiger grants, and cuts the capital investment grants program. Director Mulvaney, can you explain to me how the budget incorporates the president's new $200 billion infrastructure proposal? Would the infrastructure plan actually lead to a net increase in federal investment in transportation infrastructure?
It would, and I think I'm discouraged to hear you reference Mr. Schumer's numbers because they're just flat out wrong, which is unfortunate that he's chosen to demagogue the issue. But if you look at Mr. Schumer's numbers, what he's assuming is a $122 billion cut because of the Highway Trust Fund. The Highway Trust Fund is $122 billion short. We all know it. And unless you all make a separate appropriations for it, that money's not going to get spent anyway. So it's one of those classic examples, Mr. Carbajal, where we compare something to a baseline that everybody knows is not right. It's one of the ways that Washington counts that is different from the way the rest of the world counts. He also takes, I think, into consideration a reduction in the CDBG program, which might be infrastructure and might not. So really, it's demagoguing an issue instead of talking about ways to actually pass an infrastructure bill that work. My concern is that Mr. Schumer is heavily invested in simply seeing the president fail as opposed to talking about the issues that are important to people back home.
Mr. Mulvaney, help me understand, if the Tiger grants go away, this is a priority of mine. Both Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo counties in my district have applied for Tiger grants to widen the US 101 corridor, which is a critical link for the regional movement of goods, and to widen Highway 46, another critical economic connector, which recently served as an alternative route when the disaster hit and mudslides shut down the 101. Without Tiger grants, where do you suggest communities like mine pursue funds for this type of infrastructure?
Through the new infrastructure program that we are proposing. If Tiger grants were the answer, Mr. Carbajal, we wouldn't have this problem in the first place. If just throwing money at the problem was the answer, then the stimulus 10 years ago would have solved the problem. Clearly, what we have been doing in the past, which include Tiger grants, doesn't work. It's one of the reasons we have the crumbling infrastructure that we have. I give tremendous credit to the president for at least coming up with new ideas on how to fix the problem. Because again, if we simply do the same thing we've always done, we're going to get the same results we've already got.
Mr. Mulvaney, but we're actually inverting the formula that the federal government has always utilized to help local communities. That is, they used to do 80% funding and allow local communities to come up with 20%. Now we're saying, you come up with 80%, and we will come up with only 20%.
And we also,
how is that helping?
Because we also found that when we increased federal spending on infrastructure, as we did during the Obama stimulus, all it did was displace state funding. No additional roads actually got built. What happened was states took money they were going to spend on building roads and bridges and other infrastructure and moved it to other priorities, and the federal money displaced that so that nothing additional got built.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on how that impacted local communities. I was in local government, and I will tell you, we saw the benefits of those investments, which is not the case with what's being proposed.